are being renovated. So we gotta put them wherever there's spaces. That's why we set them that way.
Have you talked to the faculty person about possibly either changing the times or changing the rooms in this building? Is that an option that maybe all the faculty could come
He
together?
never came and talked to me. I didn't even know this was a problem until you just told me.
Can you then explain the rationale for?
Or actually, now that I did read what you sent me that he wrote, so I knew at that point, but before that I didn't know.
Is this something that you feel like could be resolved?
I don't know. I don't know how many classrooms are open. I don't know what size classes he has. If he has big classes, which most of the time these are big classes, we don't have too many big rooms. If it was a smaller class, we could fit them into smaller rooms. So I'm not sure. It might be possible, but this is the first time I've really heard of it.
Is it an option that maybe all the faculty could come together and talk about their timing of offering the classes and what rooms they would prefer to have?
Well, as chair, I wouldn't like to have them all give me their 2 cents every semester putting in together the schedule, because then I'm the one who has to be held responsible for the schedule, and I can't have 50 different people telling me 50 different things. So I think on this particular case, we might be able to do something, but I don't think I want all the faculty coming together.
I just feel like there's communication between the faculty member and you. I don't know if I should do it. Okay.
Time out.
Yeah.
Probably should.
Okay. That's my judgment.
That's your judgment,
Okay.
because what you're trying to do is to see if you can find a resolution.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, but it's, you're stating the obvious, the communication is poor.
But you might ask if the chair would be willing to meet with
Okay.
the two of you and the person.
All right.
That is perfectly.
Right, yeah, because you're
Okay.
trying to facilitate communication instead of being critical of the
Okay,
lack of it.
all right, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
So how can we kind of skip forward then and say, so when we meet with
Faculty X.
the faculty and the administrator and the ombuds person, and if the administrator's acting like the administrator's acting here, it seems like it's gonna become, start off as a very defensive, you never did this, you complain about everything, I can't accommodate everyone's requests. So what would be our?
You don't do it. If you perceive that it's gonna make the situation
Worse, then don't do it.
Okay.
But
if you think-
you can control it to a certain degree. If you came in that situation and the administrator was acting sort of like I was, then you could say, okay, let's not worry, we're not gonna bring anything about the past into this right now. Nothing about what anybody has done in the past. Let's talk about this particular situation right now. Let's not argue or talk about anything in the past. Let's not project into the future. Let's argue about the here and now. And that may narrow it down and make it easy. And then I jump to possibilities of solution. After talking enough, you might ask this person what are possible solutions, and you started a little bit, and you already did the other person. And so at that meeting, if you keep it to the present and start to say, well, are there possible solutions that you could both end up agreeing with us, reminding them that they're not going to get everything, they're going to have to be a give and take. Then I think it's possible.
Right, and I would coach you in this case to explore options for different rooms and also possible mutually advantageous trades. Faculty member trades one class for another class.
Okay.
So this person, if you got 4 people teaching the same thing, or 4 different things, you may be able to have somebody doing 2 of the same section.
Okay, okay.
Is it possible to get any switching of assignments that are mutually advantageous? Or where somebody doesn't care that much, and is it possible for you to explore maybe additional classrooms in that same building where that faculty member is, rather than making a faculty member?
In other words, you can have the chair look at the actual enrollment. At the enrollment, he thought was going to be 40, and it's only 25. You have a room that's small enough to fit it in the building that the faculty member wants to teach in. Then it's just a matter of going within the building from room to room. So those are the kind of nitty-gritty factual things that just you have to investigate and find out what the data is. Now, when he was up here and you asked him, has he talked to the chair? He said no, but you didn't ask him why or why not. That would be a thing to find out. It'll help determine a bunch of stuff about the relationship between the two.
And
Other than he said eventually that the chair hates him.
right, but you should also ask the chair that.
Yes.
Have you visited with the faculty member about this?
Well, and I had already indicated that it was the first time I'd ever heard about it, so they, this particular example, they
But
didn't
the
have.
chair didn't visit with the faculty member about the assignments at
Right,
all.
you're right.
Oh, I see what you mean about making the
Yeah, that's
assignments.
right.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
question.
And just to say, just tell us how this works. Just, go ahead. and-
Okay, yeah. Tell us how scheduling works in your department.
Well, we've had some problems. Some of our faculty have had illness problems, and both mental and physical, and so it's been hard. I've been trying to give those people a little bit more slack. They need a little bit of time between their classes because of their situation, mental and physical problems. Whereas Professor X is healthy. He seems to be in good shape both mentally and physically. So I thought maybe he could handle doing the back-to-back. So I made the decision myself, trying to help the others without trying to punish him.
Okay. Have you visited with this faculty member about this?
No, none of them, because I didn't want to embarrass the ones who I'm kind of being a little flexible with, and I thought faculty X could just take it okay.
Is it typical that you make assignments without talking to the faculty?
Well, usually the assignments are done based on what they did the previous year. So if they taught it in a certain room at a certain time the previous year, we do the same thing. But this year, because of all the problems of ours, we're short 2 faculty members, and all these other ones having problems. I couldn't do that because we needed to be a little bit more flexible. So in this case, I didn't. And usually you don't have to, because it's the same course, the same time, year after year after year.
Do you feel like you could talk to faculty X and let them know why you make these assignments this way?
Yeah, if he had mentioned that it was a problem, I would have explained why. He just never came to me.
And time out here. Now's your window to say, would you be comfortable meeting with faculty X and us at the same time? Okay, because he said.
Because I've already opened up to
Yeah.
it.
He opened up to it,
Okay.
and so now's your opportunity to do that. You led right into that one.
Okay. So, would you be comfortable meeting with faculty X and with you and us present?
Sure. Maybe that would help, getting this whole thing solved. I'm not out to hurt this person. We had a relationship a long time ago, which we had differences of opinion on, and it's been 20 years since then, and I haven't held any grudge or anything.
Okay, so we'll keep the past in the past and just focus right here on this question that faculty X has, and see what we can resolve for
Yeah.
class assignments for next semester.
I'm up for that.
Are you willing to put in writing, how you made those assignments, or what you were just telling us about other faculty people without mentioning names, just
Yeah, I don't
So
think I
that-
could mention names.
so that faculty X could maybe have an understanding on how you arrived at these assignments?
Sure, I think I could make it clear in a little short memo or something.
Okay, kind of take any emotion out, or that he hasn't visited with you, but just how you arrived at that.
And then you want to tell him that you'll then show it to the person.
And we would show it to
So that
faculty
way
X.
he knows his audience.
Okay, and we'll show it to faculty X before we come together as a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'd be willing to do that.
So this meeting would end unless you had additional stuff.
Okay.
And then, Charles, any additional ideas? We're up against the time boundary limit needs to take.
No, actually, I think all that kind of, the right things came out. The big thing, I think, is to make clear from the beginning is that we would like to avoid a formal grievance if possible. But if there's irreconcilable differences, then that's okay. But we want to see if there's a way to get, and you were on your way to bringing this
Right.
together. So,
The one thing we didn't do, and I didn't coach you well enough to have the chair speak to loss.
Yeah.
It would be helpful to speak to loss. What does, because we.
what does that mean?
Speak to loss is to say, if we proceed in a fashion where the chair has to change things, what kind of loss is there? Loss to the department, loss to the university,
In
loss
other
to
words,
the
if you reach a solution that's mutually agreed, both sides are gonna get something, but they're both gonna lose something.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get all that they
How
want.
does it make it harder for the chair?
Yes,
Something
and for
like
the
that.
university and for the students
Okay,
and for
all right.
the
Because the chair could say, well, I'll be giving up some of my power. You know, my only real power is to assign classes and things like the rest of the time I'm just a pencil pusher administrator. Then he or she may not want to do that. But, I mean, that would be a loss, a little bit of a loss of power. But they may be willing to make the exchange to avoid any problems with the person that they don't really hate, the person thinks they do, but they don't.
And you may run into the issues if you were to try to reduce the number of preparations, because then the loss might be students won't graduate. The university will lose revenue.
Sure.
Our program review won't go as well because we have fewer graduates. There can be all kinds of things that open up there.
And the
And
two
there could
possible,
also be loss of faculty if the faculty resigns over it.
that's true.
And
you got-
then you would have a huge problem.
even worse than what they already
Yeah.
have.
Mhm.
But there's two areas in this particular case. One is bring them all, or at least most of the most of the courses in one building. And the other is maybe spread them out a little bit so there's some prep time between the courses.
Yeah, or at least time to recover.
Yeah. Or maybe make them, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, rather than all back to back on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right.
And leaving Tuesday, Thursday out. I mean, there's possible solutions.
I just have one comment that goes back a bit when the chair said, I gave him these assignments. I knew it was onerous, but he could handle it because my other faculty has mental and physical illness and they can't handle it and I'm being easy on them. And so if I were that faculty, I would say, I'm not being treated equally here then.
That came into my mind,
not
I
being
didn't know how to
treated-
go there.
I'm not being treated equally here. And so I think you could say
Well, that's an argument.
to the chair, if I were in this position, I might be tempted to say, you're
Okay.
being easier on them because they can't do their job.
Okay.
And you're being harder on me because I can do my job. And that seems they're being rewarded for incompetence and I'm being punished for being competent.
See, that might open up the chairs to a bigger understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
And he has a bigger interpretation beyond his narrow one
Right.
at the beginning. And if you use, like he said, instead of you think, but somebody might think, you just put it off into a third person, unknown, anonymous person. It takes a lot of it away. You don't just put it on the disputer
Or I can
or
see,
on yourself.
I can see how somebody might think.
Yeah, like that.
In that phrase, I can see how somebody might think, you put it off on somebody else, but you also say, I get it.
Well, yeah, but you're not directly saying, well, I think.
Right.
You're saying somebody could, you know?
And you've got to go. But he is your coach, right? Charles is the Ombuds person trainer, so if you've got any issues, touch base with him often.
So real quick, a question. If someone calls and says, and I talk to you, I'm just, whatever, on fire, fine.
Right.
Can we first call another ombuds person to be there with us, or is that against the
You can
rules?
ask them if they'd be willing to have two, and
Okay.
it'd help, but they have to agree to it.
They have to agree to it.
But that's a good question, and there might be another ombuds person that you know and you're comfortable with, and you might suggest that person because,
Two minds are better than one.
Yeah.
Right now. So, yeah, but you want to make sure that they have agreement to it, so it's not a surprise.
Okay.
Good job, both of them.
Well, thank you all for your time and
okay.
explanation.
We're going to try to do something
I thought this
similar on
actually
Friday.
went pretty well.
I do too.
Yeah, it'll, if you get somebody coming to you, there's gonna be times you don't know what to do, and I mean, that's gonna happen. So just ask Charles. He'll
Right,
give
and
you
just
some
tell the
points.
person you're talking with, there's a lot of issues on the table, I'm not sure how to go, and give me a couple of days, I'd like to have some private conversation.
The other thing, discourage the faculty member or the administrator from firing off any kind of communication. Typically get them to cyclists review and to
Yeah.
get them to tone
And it's a
it
very
down.
good idea for you to read through it. In fact, I would actually maybe say that, to do that, please write a draft, and I'll help you, we'll edit it together. Because oftentimes what they write there is.
Oh, it's inflammatory.
Right.
Yeah, it's
They're
like.
angry.
Yes.
Both of them are angry, and
And it's the kind of letter they should never send. Write and get it out of you, but don't ever send it. So then you change it so that it's more nice, sedate, factual.
So you can find a solution. Once they're actually in a physical fight or an emotional fight, it's almost impossible. Don't be late for class.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thanks.
You betcha.
Are we all gonna quit?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. I'll see.